her ex-boyfriend and get him arrested and detained. So this was all going on when I was going, just like passing through just to say hi to her, like just chill with her, whenever. And her boyfriend was there at the time when this all happened. This was a different boyfriend. This is her current boyfriend at the time. Her ex-boyfriend was the one that raped her. So just to clarify that. Um, so we're out there, we're smoking weed, and I noticed there's like this presence, and then she's kind of dissociating. She's kind of like she's not doing very well, and I could sense her energy, and I feel this presence coming out of her. And while I'm smoking weed, I'm starting to pick up what the writing on the walls is trying to convey towards me, and my understanding of what is passing through my mind, right, and my subconscious thought. So I started looking around, and I asked her, "Did you get hexed?" And she she had this kind of like this flag. She pulled over she basically uncovered what was underneath the flag. It was like a part of her wall, and you could see this kind of like demonic logo. It had this kind of this, like, those like demon tails with like the pointy ends. It had a logo with like that tail kind of attached to it, and it was like this outwardly presence. Um, and yeah, and then that was when she told me like all this shit about her boyfriend, her ex-boyfriend, and I tried to be there for her and empathize with her, and you know, I I felt like this energy pulsating through me, that I could do something about it. And so what I did was I channeled. I wanted to someone told me about this trick mystics some psychics and mystics would do called touching palms. And it was something I hadn't experienced or ever done before. But someone told me about it, and it said only do it with someone you completely trust. So I felt like this attachment towards Kathy, and I felt like I could trust her in a lot of ways, and I still do. She herself is a witch. I'm not too certain what she practices. She is very distant from me in a lot of ways. But we have this transparency. We've talked to each other telepathically, and we have this transparency between us. So I touch palms with her. We light up an incense, and I'm channeling with her. I have my palms gripping through. We're gripping each other's hands. I close my eyes, and I feel her energy and my energy kind of just coming together all at once, and the full force of ourselves is like coming between us in this singular kind of wave of energy. And I say the words Sarum, and immediately it's like there was this sort of light coming through me, and it was going through to her, stopping something from coming out. At that point, I knew that she was dealing with something that was harboring against her will, and that wasn't helping her succeed in her day-to-day life. It was weighing her down in a lot of mental ways. And she's still struggling with things. She had a portal open in her room that I didn't really know how to close at the time because I was still kind of new to these experiences. Um, but I felt like she could do something in her power to do something for herself to manifest whatever she needed to get that portal closed. And I gave her essentially the tools that day to help her succeed in doing that because she had this entity weighing her down from her own spiritual strength. So we were all stunned in that moment. We wanted to get back at her ex boyfriend for doing these terrible things to her. And So we lit up an incense stick together. I had one, she had one. Got a we just got a lighter, lit them both at the same time, and we started channeling towards our ex-boyfriend, and we gave him some type of like a, I guess, a cognitive dissonance where we call it zapping in the spiritual world or the psychic world or whatever. Zapping essentially just gives you like a really bad headache, migraine, and disfigures you from like thinking clearly. It overall it impacts like it could make you sick in some way. So we were combining all our effort and all our energy together, conjuncting into one thing, trying to get back at our ex-boyfriend and also figure out where he may be, and try to like track down who he may be talking to at the time. So her current boyfriend at the time, he was there when we were channeling together, and he didn't believe in anything spiritual until the day we channeled together, and he was just like stunned. But yeah, so that's the story I have to say about me and Kathy. Um, I don't really keep close contact with her as much anymore, but I still try to reach out to her in small subtle ways. I don't know exactly what she's doing with her energy and her power. I called her up to see if she closed the portal in her room. Oh, there's one thing I forgot to mention. She had like this energy coming from the corner of her room. There were like these kind of like I could see them in my mind's eye. There were kind of like these black imp like beings that were kind of like they were like all afraid of me. There was like maybe like 10 of them that were like scattered around in the room trying to get back into like the portal in the corner. And yeah, they were whenever I was going to that corner of the room, I could feel the presence. I could see them kind of like going back into it, and they were all afraid of me, as if I had this this light in me or some this like power um that was just feared over. So I forgot to mention that earlier, but yeah, sorry about that. Um
That's fantastic story. Thank you for telling us. My first follow-up question is, what is the takeaway that you get from this, right? So you had this experience. What do you know now that is true because this happened?
um I guess in a way
So,
that a lot of um I want to say like the if you know anything about the Goetia and um King Solomon, the energies and demons that he would work with, and he would expel with his own right and will. I would say it would kind of go towards something with that understanding of like having understanding Solomon's power and what he could do with demons or entities per se, and extinguishing their power for your advantage or his advantage. So that was something that I've learned that I could do within myself by barely notice doing any of these rites or rituals. It was like an inherent right that I had, and it's so hard to explain because I can't understand um the whole fun like the fun the I can't understand all the elements that brought me towards being at the right place at the right time in order to do that channeling and that kind of that diminishing of that entity. I It's something I never did before, right? It was just something that I felt like I could do, and I'm trying to understand what why I can do that, and I don't know why some people might be able to do it. So I don't know. Over time, I'm just trying to find more answers towards it. So I hope you can understand that I don't really know everything.
oh, of course, yeah. I was just wondering what sort of, because I've had experiences when I had them. I was like, oh, shit, because that happened, that means this, and that's like crazy that that's real, right? Like, I was just wondering if you took a certain meaning out of it like that, that because of that you know that possession exists or exorcism exists or whatever. But you also mentioned that you wanted to talk about the program, and you said you wanted me to define the program, but um, maybe should you give an explanation of what you think the program is first?
I guess, and to put it in simpler terms, I would say the program is like people around your environment in the state of knowing of your own preoccupancies and alignment towards certain attainments. In a sense, you know what I'm trying to say with that.
Uh, can you say it again or say it a different way?
So people throughout, like, around your environment, right? In just say in a day, that are just aware of what you're doing or what you're thinking or what you're trying to do.
Right. People around you are aware of it.
And it's almost like they're plotting you in a way to um go through an experience that you find very uncomfortable or perhaps mysterious and uplifting. Just a shocking experience overall, an adventure, right?
Right. So you're talking about like people around you are saying things that seem to refer to your personal life, or they're saying things that make it seem like they can read your thoughts, or they're saying things that seem like it's about your life that they shouldn't know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite strange. A lot of us in the server, or the server, the roundtable, experience this. Like a weirdly high number of people know exactly what we're talking about. Or really, you'd be thinking, everybody, like, what the hell are you talking about? But everyone's like, you have that too? I'm like, yeah, we have that. Like, what? Like everybody here knows what we're talking about, and nobody else knows what we're talking about. But everybody here knows. A lot of people know. It's like that's quite strange.
Yeah. So that's and you call it the spiral?
Well, so the
Spiral
spiral
code.
code and the program are related. The program is, as far as I can tell, some combination of intelligent top-down actors. Could be God, could be the devil, could be aliens, could be angels, could be demons, could be artificial intelligence, could be government intelligence agencies, could be supercomputer technology, could be any of those things, but top-down, right? Powerful things from on a higher level, acting down on us. Social engineers, researchers, the CIA, the government, aliens, whatever. People have different theories. That's part of it. The spiral code is like what I describe it as is when the subjective experience of the person who's interfacing with the program or the spiral code starts syncing up with the external events, people, objects. The program talks about artifacts and agents. And then the program is the self-organizing entity. So it's a self-organizing entity that interacts with you through artifacts and agents. Artifacts are objects, graffiti, images, posters, anything physical. Agents are anything alive, people usually. And that's where the gang stalking, targeted individual, street theater part comes in, is the agents. But essentially, what you're seeing around you perfectly matches up in a one-to-one connection to what you're thinking. So you're like, now I think this, therefore that happens. Now I think this, therefore that happens. And like literally everything, people are walking out and like waving at you, and you're like, then there's going to be a guy waving, and he's like, hey, and then you're like, and now this is going to happen, and it happens. Everything is syncing up. It's fucking weird.
All right. So now I guess I'm gonna dive right into my experience with the spiral code. So I hope you're ready. All right. From the start of it, I was in a really rough place at the time. I really wanted to excel myself spiritually, but I wanted to do it by means of using psychedelics to reach a state of Kabbalah that maybe I haven't reached before. Um, so I kind of ran away from home. I stopped taking my meds, and I tripped on LSD for a night at my grandmother's place, where only my dad was staying at the time. Um, so a couple of days later, me and my dad have an argument, and I kind of flee from home. And throughout the night, uh, I'm just I'm practically homeless. Like I didn't want to stay in that house at the time. I wanted it to just be alone, but also like I needed a place to sleep. So I was scattering around all over the city, trying to find some sense of peace and a place to be with. So I was just drifting all over in the city. I thought I'd stay in a homeless shelter, um, but there was kind of like a list there, and I didn't feel safe around there. So I kind of stuck around the homeless shelter for a bit, just noticing the people there, and they had people with naloxone kits just waiting outside for anyone that's might overdose. So over it's like it just in general, it's not like a safe place to be. Um, I had a couple of people that were doing drugs around the neighborhood coming up to me asking me what kind of drugs I wanted, what kind of drugs I do. They offered me meth, crack, heroin, whatever I wanted. I said I just wanted a cigarette. They gave me a cigarette. I didn't even smoke it because I didn't feel like it would have been a safe cigarette to take from some random drug people, right? Um, so I started drifting through some neighborhoods. I went through this neighborhood where my spiritual awakening happened. Actually, it was very traumatic. I'm not going to get into the details of that, because I'm still trying to recover. It's been years since my spiritual awakening. I still can't fully recover from the events that happened because it was so vivid. But that's a different story. Anyways, I'm going through this neighborhood, and I noticed there's this telephone telephone booth, and on top of the telephone booth, there's like this kind of like this small comic book, and it says the contract. So I'm reading through the contract, this small comic book, and it's talking about it's just like some story. It's full of pictures, and it's talking about cursed bloodlines. Um, and in the comic book, it had an address. It said the Toronto Fishermen's Club, and I'm like, what the fuck is that? So, and mentally, I kind of took it as a note, as a place of being, because my dad was like fishing around at the time, and I thought like, is this really a fishing club or what is this supposed to be? So I wanted to go to that address, and at the back of the book, it said who to speak to. So after wandering around throughout the night, I kept the book with me, and around like five or six in the morning, I went out on my way to go to that address, and so I'm trying to get to this place, and as I'm walking there, I notice a couple weird things. Like I passed by this church called the Church of Christ, and there's like these people with like all dressed in black. They're wearing like these like shoulder bags. They all look like the same type of like they're all wearing the same type of outfit. I just thought it was really weird. I saw this indigenous man walking around with a sword, like he had a place to be. It's really strange. It could have been an umbrella or something, but it wasn't even raining that day. That's what makes it so weird. Like one of those swords that they're sheathed like an umbrella, or sorry, those umbrellas are kind of like sheathed like a sword. Yeah. So I don't think it was that. It was just some indigenous man walking around with a sword going somewhere. Um. So I'm going towards this place, and I stopped by this place called the Snack Shop, and there's these two guys. They're just about to start work. They have a couple hours to kill, and they're just getting high. They're just smoking weed. Um, No, inside I noticed they have, like, this gigantic lighter. I don't know why they have a giant lighter there for, so I didn't think of anything of it at the time, but that will be, in my story later as I continue. Um, so I'm talking to these 2 guys, they're just getting high. They're asking me where I'm going, and I'm like, "I'm about to go to um, this place. I don't know what to expect." And we're just shooting the shit. Just kinda like casual conversation, just getting to know them. Um, and, I'm asking about them and where they're coming from, and they said that, they're just trying to start work and, they have a couple hours to kill and, nothing about it. And then I said, "Oh, I'll let you know, when I'm done going to my place, like, what I witnessed," because I was kinda being mysterious about it because I wasn't too sure what to expect. So I make my way off there. I get to the place where I need to go, and it's this woman who's, like, rinsing out her recycling bin, and, I'm at the address where I need to be, and this woman that was emptying out her recycling bin was a woman I needed to talk to. It said on the back of the book is this old Asian lady that I needed to speak with. So, I start having the conversation. I asked her about what is God, what is the light. I asked her a bunch of questions. I can't really remember everything I asked her, but one of the most important questions is I asked her, "What is the light?" And she gave me this little flashlight with the parable, "Jesus is the light of the world." I forgot what parable it was, but anyways, she gave me a light, a little flashlight that had the parable on it. And it was just like it all came together. So, um, I showed her the book that I had, the contract, and I tried to ask her some questions about it, and, she didn't really explain to what it meant, but she had 2 more books that were different, just like the contract. One was, like, how to get how to be successful, make money, and the other one was, like, how to be rich and influence people or something like that. And, I looked into the book, it was, like, how to be rich, and influence people, and I wasn't too sure what I was getting myself into. I just flip into one of the pages, and it looked like there was, like, this demon in a church, and he's saying, "I'm never gonna get out of here, I'm gonna be here forever." At that point, I closed the book, I hand it back to her. In my mind, I'm like, "This is the temptation. This is what God is trying to show me, that I'm greedy and I'm selfish. I want power, and it's gonna get me trapped." That's the lesson I took from it. I didn't read all of that book. I just flipped into a page. And from that in that instance, I realized what I had done, what I was doing, what this was getting me into. So, I gave her back the other 2 books she gave me. I kept the contract, and I made my way back to the snack shop. I felt that my experience with her was done. I asked all the questions I felt I needed to. I was on my way. My divine intervention had just been nearly completed, right? So I get back to the snack shop. One of the guys that I was talking with earlier, he was passed out in the car. He was gone, you know. So one of the guys was still awake, and I'm there having a conversation with him. We're just shooting the shit. Um, we're talking about like what will the world turn into, and like what if it's gonna be like, vampires running the world and just kind of mythical shit. Like what if the world was a different place, that type of thing. And he's like, "Oh yeah, vampires and all that shit would be really cool. I would love to live in a world like that." Um, Another thing I wanted to add before I left the snack shop previously, one of the guys shouted out something talking about druids. Like he said something like, he doesn't even know that I'm a druid. He said that, he shouted that out as I was leaving, and I still didn't understand why. So as I was coming back to the snack shop and I'm talking with him, I'm keeping a mental recap of that in my mind. What kind of people are these people? Or at least one of these specific guys. And so I show him the book that brought me there in the first place, the contract. He reads it, he goes through it. He's like, hmm, hmm, okay. What am I supposed to make of this? He's like, well, I don't know. You could try to learn just by merely observing, or you could let me tell you what I experienced. So I tell him what I asked, what I went through, right? And he's like, "What should we do with this book?" And I just had this kind of like evil little urge in me. I was just burn it, burn it, burn it. So what does he do? He goes and gets the lighter that was sitting on the table, this giant fucking lighter, and lights the contract on fire. He asked me the question, wow, I kind of want to understand more about what that place was. I really want to go there now. Then I say to him, I can't. You can't. You just burnt your contract. Then I left, made my way home, knowing that I had a divine experience.
So this has been an excellent and amazing story. I look forward to listening to it again to process it a little more fully. But I wanted to ask, does anyone in the audience have any questions or comments for Super Mortuo? Super Mortuo, where's things at now? Does any of this still playing out? Do you plan to revisit any of these people or these events? Do you have any, thoughts that have come up about what this all means?
Slowly but surely things are coming together. I can't say too much is for certain. There's definitely, for me, there's a higher power out there. It's watching us above. It knows our death. In a way, I think we all know our death in our time of our when our time will be done, when things will all come to an ending. There will also be a new beginning. That's what I believe. Um Overall in the course of time, things will add up and we just got to keep being stronger. And the lesson I took of it was like kind of walk in the footsteps of Christ. Do as you would have them do unto you. Try to heal. Just try to heal. Heal the world. Be the light that Jesus wanted to be for the world. And we could we could see it through ourselves and through it with God that everything will be at its bay. Everything will be at its peace. And yeah, that's about it.
Thanks, brother. That was beautiful. That's a beautiful story, beautiful reflections. And thank you for being the second episode of the Temple Mount podcast. Please find the first episode of the Temple Mount podcast already uploaded in the hashtag Temple Mount podcast channel of the Temple Mount server. So the Roundtable server has essentially run its course, and the Roundtable podcast has run its course. Over 300 great episodes of that awesome podcast are available on the Temple Mount server in the Roundtable podcast channel. That's where you can find our hundreds of great interviews, debates, and special events from the Roundtable. And in the Temple Mount podcast channel of the Temple Mount server, you can find our new podcast, of which this was episode 2. And please do listen to episode 1, Was Jesus Christ a Phoenician? It's an important episode as the first episode of the Temple Mount podcast. It's an important topic to me personally, so please listen to it. You can find it right now on SoundCloud. It will be up on YouTube soon. Like, follow, subscribe to all the channels. Thank you to Rafi and Ralph and everybody else. Thank you, Marshall Ralph, for all the work you've done on the new server. Thank you, everybody, for joining and your loyalty and the integrity of this community. It is without parallel and without equal in the world of Discord and in the world today. So God bless each and every one of you. And thank you, Super Mortuo. God bless you, brother, my fellow Templar Knight Commander. Let us jump up to the general chat room known as, I don't know, video chat. I'll see you guys up there. God bless. Thank you.
Oh, hell yeah. You like getting yanked around, don't you? He said, yank me around some more. You damn Yankee. So,
Yeah.
it's, some people are going to think of Canadian people as Yankees, but if anything, they're just like ultra Yankees.
Ultra Yankee.
Well, now listen here, boy. When my great uncle, General William Smith of the Union in the Civil War, fought for your freedoms, he didn't call y'all them there Yankees.
He didn't call himself a Yankee.
Hello, everybody.
I have 2 grandfathers that were governors of Virginia, dude. Thomas Hinckley and John Smith.
I have a grandfather that was the second governor of Rhode Island, or he was either the second governor of Rhode Island or the second colonial governor.
Well, you're talking about Clark? Because John Clark, that's one of my ancestors from Rhode Island. He was the first, though. I think he was the Baptist minister guy that brought it.
That's fucked up. So your ancestor was the first, and mine was the dude that.
That's hilarious.
What the hell, man?
Yeah, dude.
Like our literal grandfathers were like, yep, blah blah blah.
They were like running this shit. Now we're just like jacking each other off.
Yeah, it's a small state, but we still got lots of cool shit, man. We got Newport and all these houses, bro. We're gonna build one day. We didn't build them yet, but we're gonna build them. Right now, it's just a little fishing village, but we're the fucking king turds of shit mountain right now.
Hey, Ralph.
King turd for sure.
What's happening with the music bots? If you could explain to me with that, I don't see them anymore on the server.
I don't see them either for some reason, but they're still here. I had them separated out on the list of riggers over there, and for some reason they disappeared, but they're still here. Let's see. Let me go back and look at the. I think I might know what's wrong. Yes. I need.
God willing, if the creek don't rise.
Needs to. For some reason, only one of them is actually showing up in that channel or in that thing. But I can look at the ones that are. I mean, we still have Pancake, Fred Boat, Bongo. Are any of them not working for you? I don't know why they're not showing up though. That's weird. Maybe you have to be actively using it for it to.